So, hello and a very good evening. It's been a 2 week absence. Obviously, last week PSN issues stopped us from racing at the Singapore circuits, but we are back today for what has now become round 3 of the Invictus Formula 1 League Championship from the legendary Italian Grand Prix, the Circuit Autodrome Nazionale in Monza. 27 laps of this historic circuit lie out in front of us, and famous corners such as a Parabolica, a Scari and the Lesmos ready to catch out even the most skilled of drivers. And these are certainly the most skilled drivers on Invictus. This is the fastest league on the site, and we've seen some great action already this season. We saw a fantastic scrap in Brazil for second place, and we saw some cracking racing at the opening round in Mexico as well. We've seen two different winners. It was VSR Charles that collected a win in Mexico, while Gamer the Best commandingly won last time out in Brazil. And hopefully we'll see another cracking race tonight. It looks cast, but I would say that it looks pretty dry at the moment. We had a wet qualifying yesterday evening in the Performance League, and it was very challenging for the drivers, and it created quite a bit of drama. But it looks like we've got a dry qualifying here. Got 14 drivers this evening. No Gamer, so last week's winner, who missed the first race, has also missed the third race. So, you know, it's all well and good collecting a win, but if you keep missing races and not collecting points, then it's not really put to use. And that'll be a relief for the likes of Sam, who is last season's champion, Charles and Brady, who have shown their pace, and even the likes of Tom and Nicky as well. First drivers starting to venture on the circuit. We've got a 12-minute qualifying session as always. Probably enough time for drivers to do 2 runs, as long as they're not too slow out the pits. And looking at pole time, I've heard something in the region of maybe a low 120. Could be what we're looking at for pole position here. Perhaps dipping into the 19s if you can really nail the lap. You know, a lot of drivers up and down the paddock were backing Gamer to win this one, but since he's not here, that opens up possibilities for many other drivers too, as one of the Renaults goes through one of the advertising hoardings on his outlap. That's an interesting approach. Let's see who is furthest into their outlaps. I think Brady's fairly far in to his lap. Oh, I follow Sam actually, because he is almost ready to start his lap on the super soft tyre, and we'll see what he can do. No drivers opting for the softs as of yet. Everyone going for the super softs does make you think that it could be wet in qualifying. Or wet in the race rather, should I say. As Sam goes down towards the first chicane, brakes at the 100-metre board, locks up a bit but gets it turned in, but hits the curb a little too much, and that unsettles the car. Lost a bit of time there for sure, because it goes through the Curva de Grande now. Easy flat in these cars. And the end of the first sector is a 26.6, but that was definitely not perfect. That's much nicer through there. Bit of oversteer on exit, that Mercedes looking lively. Into Lesmo 1, misses the apex but gets the exit nicely, and now through Lesmo 2, and he's the optimum exit onto this straight. Again, the back end just letting loose a little bit. This has not been a perfect lap from Sam for sure. And now in towards the Scari chicane. It's easy to have your lap time validated here, but he stays well within the track limits and plants the throttle through the run to Parabolica. Not much the driver can do here apart from pick the right line going into the corner. Brake at the 50-metre board, get it turned in, and then plant the throttle as early as you possibly can as you make the run up to the line. And Sam's opening lap time is a 120.9. But there's definitely room for improvement in there for sure. Brady is coming out the final corner. What can he do? Brady goes second, but Giorgio goes quickest. Teammate to Sam edges out his teammate by the smallest of margins. What about Tom AJ? He's shown himself to be very, very quick this season. Can he challenge near the front on his first lap? No, he goes 5th for now. Nice lap time from H Racing Green. In 4th, I think Lipinski has crashed. Oh dear, it's a nightmare qualifying for the Haas driver. He has binned it, and that is the end of his qualifying. Yeah, so good time from H Racing Green to go 4th. What can Charles do? Show himself to be really quick, and he's gotten quickest by over half a second, 120.3, and that is more towards the sort of lap times we're expecting the front guys to deliver. Anyone going for a second lap, I wonder? Tyres can do it. Brady's definitely on a second lap. He's going much quicker than on his first lap. He could challenge his teammate Charles. Williams currently, not say dominating the constructors, but they definitely have an advantage at the front at the moment. So can Brady make it a Williams 1-2 in qualifying? Yes, he can, and he's just a 10th shy of his teammate Charles's best lap. As Sam also went for a second hot lap and went quicker, did a 120.6. So it's Williams 1-2, Mercedes 3 and 4. I promise you this is not unrealistic car performance. Who is on a lap at the moment then? Doesn't look like Mornan. Let's pull Mornan round in the Haas. See what he can do. He's had a fairly uninspiring start to the season, I would say, so far. Yet to score a point, DNF'd the first race and finished outside the points last time out, so they'll be hoping to put that right here, because you don't want to go for too many races without picking up points, because the pressure will only rise on you. So what can Mornan do? Going towards the line, it's going to be a 122.1, and it's only good enough for 11th. As he stands there, he will have a free choice of tyre, which could be a pretty good strategic thing to have around here. So a couple of drivers in the Performance League go for different tyre compounds at the start of the race, myself included. And for sure, the softs to super soft strategy does seem to be the quickest, but some drivers may opt for the mediums, depending on how much they feel they have to lose. So a typical breather in the session while we get our great breath back following the first runs. I usually do my top 3 prediction before qualifying, but I'll do it now. It's a bit cheating, I know, because we've already had some early lap times in. But I will go with Brady to win this one. Sam to get second and Tom to get third. That's my prediction. A little bit out there. The current pole sitter Charles not in my top 3, but the race many things can happen during the race, so you never know. There's Mornan on a lap. No, he's heading for the pits. We'll follow Chuller out, who's the first driver to come back on track for his second run. Now, by coming out this early, he's definitely got the option to do 2 hot laps, or maybe even pit again if his lap's not going too well. So he gives himself, he opens up a few options here, does Chuller, depending how his lap unfolds. Chuller's shown good pace this season, but hasn't necessarily had the reward to go with it. He's had a couple of spins during the races, and as a result has only picked up 2 8th places, but for sure he's a lot quicker than those results suggest. He's just got to find that consistency over a race distance in order to score more points and possibly get onto the podium. He's definitely capable of it, so we've just got to see whether he can deliver it. We'll follow him round for a lap of Monza. Follow Sam round earlier, and there's a little bit of a scrappy lap, so I'm sure we'll be hoping that he has a bit of a cleaner attempt. And it heads down towards the first chicane. quite a accident point at the start of the race this, because it's very difficult, especially these wider cars, to get all these cars through turn 1 and 2 at the start is a big challenge. It's going to take a lot of sensible driving in order to ensure that there are no big accidents on lap 1. Chiller has done a 26.6 for first sector. I think that's what Sam did earlier on, so it's pretty solid. Oh, but he just kept the back end in check. He hit the curve a bit too much there and settled the car. Through Lesmo 1, a little bit of understeer. They couldn't quite catch the apex. Through Lesmo 2 now, and now a nice run onto the straight. We'll see how his sector 2 time is looking at the moment. Hopefully we'll see how it compares to his best. Doesn't look like it at the moment, so he breaks down to Ascari. That looks very nice, but he's got the exit all wrong. Will he continue with a lap, or sort of the middle part of Ascari just got away from him a little bit? So this is not the best he can do. I wonder if he'll just go for another lap, or whether he'll decide to put in another fresh set of tyres. Oh, he's going to pitch, yeah. That suggests he's going to try and get back out again, but truth be told, I'm not sure he's got enough time. He might have been better off going for another lap there. We'll follow Geordie round, I think, unless... yep, we'll follow Geordie round, who's on his lap, coming towards the middle sector point. Slightly quicker first sector in Chillo at the moment. Flicks it through Ascari. Looks fairly steady, like good speed carried through the corner. One of those tracks really where, to be honest with you, the smoother you look, the faster you're going to go, because it's all about traction. And if you're looking leery and out of control, you're not going to get the optimum traction that you need. So this looks like a nice lap from what I've seen from Geordie, and he moves up to 8th place on a 1:21.4. So he moved up a few positions there, and he'll go for another lap, I imagine. What about Tom? In 10th at the moment, but he's shown in previous Grand Prix he's a lot quicker than that. So he'll be looking to improve as he comes down towards Parabolica. Tom currently 4th in the championship and has had 2 very consistent results, 4th and 5th in the first 2 races. So he's shown he's got the speed and consistency to fight at the front. What's this lap going to do for him? Oh, he must... No, it's the final data. He goes 6th. 1:21.0. Nice lap from Tom. Sam has backed off on his lap. He's got the Giorgio's quite a way behind. He should be alright actually. Mercedes goes down towards Parabolica, but he's also lifted off. So both Mercedes backing off on their laps. Who is... So Brady! Oh, drivers have retired out on track. That's I think that's a bit of a no-no on Invictus, so they could find themselves getting penalised later on for it. Having said that, quite a few drivers are retiring from session. I don't know what's going on. Well, time is up at the end of the session, but drivers on their laps can still complete it, but Nicky's lifted off. Chiller down in 13th, he will be disappointed with that. Oh, and Yaham backing off as well as he got a little bit too quick into the corner. Ollie moves up to 4th. Loads of drivers not improving, but Ollie certainly has, and he's gone 4th. That's a good effort from the Ferrari driver. Yet to score a point this season. Been a bit of a magnet for collisions, not his fault, but we'll be hoping for better luck this evening to get his season going at last. And qualifying has definitely helped with that. I think that's everyone completed their laps, but what's confusing me is why so many drivers have retired on track. So that is a very odd one, it has to be said, but I think that's everyone done their laps. While we wait for the session to end, I'm just going to check, see if I can find out if there's a reason why people retire from session. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything untoward, but I don't believe you're allowed to retire on track, so yeah, not ideal. Oh, Charles, meanwhile, has improved his lap time. I didn't quite catch that, but he's done the 120.0 that I was suspecting may be enough to get pole. And yeah, so Williams 1-2 on the grid, looking ominous for the rest of the field, because Williams are already ahead in the constructors, and this is a good opportunity for them to increase their lead and boost both drivers' title fights. Sam in third, which is his favourite position this season. He's finished both races in third so far this season. Won't put it past him getting another third tonight, judging from that. So let's review the grid then. As I said before, Charles, Brady and Sam the top three. Ollie with a great job in fourth, Giorgio in fifth, H Racing Green in sixth, Tom in seventh, Tibby 8th, Nicky 9th, Geordie in 10th, Johan 11th, Mornan 12th, Chillo in 13th, and Lipensky crashed before he had a chance to do a lap time and will start 14th. Well, it looks like a dry race, so nothing untoward there. Looks like a dry race, and we're going to have 27 laps of this high-speed Monza track to enjoy. The slipstream is so important here. If you are at the front, if you're first, you want to get out of people's slipstream and you're in a good position. But if you are in the midfield, the last thing you want to do is lose a slipstream, because it loses you so much time if you're not in the tow of another car. Even with the dirty air through the corners. So that is a key to a good result here, for sure. And we're moments away from finding out who is going to take the win at Monza. Right, so 5 lights for the Italian Grand Prix, round 3. And we are racing! With Williams boasting to go for line well, Charles maintains his lead over Brady. But Brady doesn't look to have had the best start, and Sam is alongside him. Ollie having a look as well in the Ferrari, but there might not be room for 3 cars here. It looks like Brady is just holding off Sam through turn 1. Ollie maintains 4th, Giorgio and H Racing Green are alongside each other. Oh, and there's a yellow flag down in sector 1. What's happened there? Oh, it's Yaham and Nicky's gone round. So a disaster for the Force India driver. Oh, and Giorgio trying to go the inside of H Racing Green. H Racing Green has to go cut the chicane. He gets a position, but can he maintain it through the Lesmos? It looks like he can. He moves up to 5th. Meanwhile, someone was kicking up a lot of gravel ahead. I'm not sure who that was, but there's been no position changes. It looks like we might see a change in position here, though. As Tom looks to pass Tivi Narena. I think that's a move that Tivi must have made at the start of the Grand Prix. So Tom has got some work to do to get those positions back. As he comes for a scar, he can't quite do it. Tivi will be helped with a slipstream up ahead of him. And there's already a tiny bit of a gap developing between the top 4 and then 5th place, H Racing Green. As Chillo and Geordie battle through Parabolica. And it looks like Chillo's held off Geordie for now, but can Geordie get the move back down the main straight? Oh, meanwhile the Mercedes of Giorgio and the Force India of H Racing Green go side by side through towards turn 1. Giorgio has the inside line. He tries to run H Racing Green a little bit out of room, but H Racing Green's having none of it, and they make contact! Oh, and they just about keep the car together, but I think Tom might have lost some of his front wing on the back of a Mercedes, and that allows Chillo up to 7th and Tibi up to 5th. Talk about taking advantage there. That is fantastic stuff. Meanwhile, at the front, we've got the 2 Williamses in very close proximity. I wonder if they are allowed to battle, or if they will just try and get away from the cars behind. They're already putting a little bit of a gap out on Sam, so it might not be wise to battle just yet. And yeah, some drama behind. as Brady looks for the inside but just decides against making a move. I mean, Charles is currently just ahead in the Drivers' Championship, and that might be on Brady's mind. He might want to prove a point to the Williams team, but he is the best driver at Williams. But he's not close enough towards Parabolica. What's going on behind? We've got Giorgio looking at the inside of Chullo. Chullo leaves the room, but it was a bit of a half-hearted lunge from Giorgio, in all honesty. And there's no way that's going to move. That's no way that's going to work. And Chullo maintains 7th, but he's got to be careful, Chullo, not to lose the toe in front of him, because that allows Giorgio the chance to make a move. He tries to outbrake Chullo into turn 1. He cuts the chicane. That's just a little bit reckless from Giorgio. He's had a couple of very iffy races so far to start off the season. He's just a little bit too eager at times to get the move done, and it's actually making him lose time, if anything. And now he's got the Penske just behind him, but no move can be made just yet. And look at Brady, he's really fighting the car. He wants to get past his Williams teammate as they head towards Ascari. Can he be close enough? He'll have DRS in operation for the first time down here, but Tom has crashed. He had front wing damage, and Tom is out of a race. He must have crashed. He has indeed. That's a huge accident, and he was a consistent points finisher in the first 2 races, but he's out of tonight's race, and that's a big blow for the Red Bull team as Lipinski and Giorgio do battle. And there's a big queue of cars here. I think Geordie might have lost out on time. Oh no, it's Chullo. What's happened to Chullo? Has he got damage? I wonder if they've made contact, Chullo and Tom, because Chullo's lost an awful lot of time, and it's yet another disastrous race for Chullo. Doesn't look like he's got damage. He may have just spun out. It may be a completely differing strategies. Giorgio pits really early on, as does Yarham. I wonder if... Well, he's going for the soft tyre, so he's going to struggle to get back to the end of the race. His new front wing, Giorgio, yet again having contact with another driver, and that is costing him at the moment. Meanwhile, at the front once again, oh, and Charles must have got a poor exit out the second chicane, and that's allowing Brady to get as close as he has been all race. And if he can get a good exit out of here, he could have a run into a Ascari chicane. Will Charles have to defend? It looks like Charles has got straight line speed, even with the slipstream and DRS. Oh, and that must be a warning, but it's allowed Brady to get right up behind Charles, and they're so close. Oh, they nearly touch. Brady pulls out the slipstream, but that actually stops him from pulling alongside. He's looking at the outside of Parabolica. Charles defends the line well, but he's going to have to defend down the whole of this straight. Is there anything that Charles can do? It still looks like he's got the straight line speed advantage, but he's definitely got the inside this time, Brady. Can he get the move done into turn 1? They're side by side. They give each other room, and Charles keeps the lead for now. Good fair racing between the two of them. They won't want to take too many risks. Risk upsetting Claire Williams, that's for sure. Oh, and meanwhile, Mornan looking down the inside Geordie and just squeezes him out of room. And Mornan makes a move stick and he's up to 8th place, looking for his first points of the season. And right now he's looking good to get them. Up to 8th. And with his teammate up ahead in 7th, it's looking like a solid day for Haas. But of course, it's very early days. Meanwhile, there's 2 Williams that are battling. They're allowing Sam to close back up to them, and that's something that they will not want. You know, a team is the most important thing, and at the moment they've got the 1-2 and they won't want to allow Sam to change that. But Sam has definitely started to close in and pull away from Ollie, who's in 4th. And it looks like that Brady had a better run. Oh, actually no, my bad. I think Brady's overtaken Charles. I must have missed that. I think Charles must have made a mistake, and Brady's now the lead Williams. But we've seen that Charles has better straight line speed, so this will be interesting as they come towards the first chicane. Can Charles make a move back on Brady? Nope, not quite. He's not quite close enough. Meanwhile, H Racing Green locking up, trying to find a move past the Renault of Tibby. Tibby really benefited from all that carnage behind and has found himself in a very strong 5th place, and H Racing Green in the Force India also looking good at the moment. You can see the drivers that have pitted have all gone on to mediums or softs. Chiller might be trying to get to the end of the race. Oh, and H Racing Green looking for a way past the Renault but can't quite manage it until Esmo 1. And onto the straight they go once again. H Racing Green had a bit of oversteer that stopped him from getting alongside the Renault. But he's ever so close. Looks like a move is only a matter of time, but Tibby will not give it to him easily. Oh, but he's gone wide. He had a bit of oversteer coming out of the Sky chicane. That's given H Racing Green the perfect opportunity to try and get past. He's on the inside of a Renault. Can he make the move sticking to Parabolica? Yes, he can. Oh, but he's had a bit of oversteer himself, and oh, they make contact going out Parabolica, and that nearly ended in disaster for them. And Tibby retakes the position and has DRS, but H Racing Green will tuck into the slipstream to try and minimise the time loss. He goes down the outside. That's a brave move. Oh, but Tibby just closes the door and says, no, you're not coming through there. And H Racing Green having real problems on traction. And that allows the Renault to pull clear. And that could be the end of our battle for now, but still plenty of time to go. Meanwhile, back at the front, this is really looking like a three-way battle for the win between the two Williamses and the Mercedes. Ollie almost 4 seconds behind this battle now, as Brady has a little bit of a moment at the end of Lesmo 2, but he still stays ahead of Charles, who isn't quite close enough to try and look for a move. Looks like Charles might be saving a bit of fuel now. He might think it's not really worth battling his teammate, especially when Sam is in such close proximity to them. And that could be his thinking for now, but it's best to stay out. I mean, we're looking at pit stops probably, I'd say, if you're making a two-stopper, you're probably looking to pit in the next lap or two. But I reckon these front three will be doing one-stoppers, and if they are, then probably around lap 10, lap 11, lap 12 is probably when you're going to see most pit stops. And these three can definitely afford to do one-stoppers. There's no reason why they can't. Gotta say, fair play to Ollie. He's not really got the pace of the top three, but I think what he needed after his first two races was a good, clean race, and at the moment he's in P4, doing a very solid job and looking for very good points. We'll be hoping that Tibby and H Racing Green resume their battle, because that will help him pull clear of them. But for now, doing a very solid job indeed. Oh, and Sam has a huge moment coming out of Lesmo 1, and that snap of oversteer nearly put him in the wall. That would have been a definite game changer for Sam, who, like we've said before earlier, loves being in third place. Well, I'm not sure how much he loves it, but that's where he seems to find himself in all the races so far. That's all he gets, a time penalty. He won't want to do that too many more times. I think Charles has had a little bit of a moment because he's lost a bit of time to Brady, and in fact could be at the Prix de Mercedes, despite Sam having that big moment earlier in the lap. Oh, but Sam has pitted. Well, that's a very early stop. The end of lap 8, he's making his stop. I wonder, he's going for medium tyres. That's interesting. I'm surprised. I really thought that, drivers would be mostly going super soft, but Sam going for a medium tyre, maybe looking for the undercut and over a Williams pair, trying to force one of them into reaction perhaps. He's got plenty of clear track ahead of him. There is a Renault, but that's a few seconds ahead. And H Racing Green has also pitted for the medium tyre, and he will come out behind Chillo in P10. So back to the front then. I wonder if Brady or Charles is going to consider pitting this lap to cover off the threat of the Mercedes, or if they'll just turn the wick up on the engines and we'll be looking to reduce the opportunity of the undercut paying off. So interesting moments ahead. Will either of them pit, I wonder? Oh, Charles has a bit of a moment coming out of Parabolica. No, they both carry on, so they look like they're sticking with their strategy of super soft to soft, and they're not worried with what Sam is doing. Maybe Sam figured he has nothing to lose because he was comfortably ahead of 4th place. And those medium tyres will definitely get him to the end of the race. No question about it. Charles getting closer again to Brady. They've not they haven't really battled for a while, maybe due to team orders, but they're just running their own races at the moment. Brady having a little moment there could give Charles an opportunity. I mean, he might potentially want to get ahead, so he gets sort of a decision on who pits when. He's got a good run out of Ascari, so oh, sorry, the Lesmos. Oh, and Yarham has crashed. Yarham has crashed. No, he hasn't. He's retired from the session on track. Oh, so unlucky for Yarham. Slightly less dramatic conclusion to his race than I thought. But yeah, Yarham has retired from the race. Wasn't struggling towards the back of the field and maybe didn't think it was necessary to carry on. Hopefully he'll stay in the lobby, otherwise we may have a slipstream glitch. Meanwhile, Sam on fresh mediums is looking for a way past Geordie, who is on old super soft tyres, as Brady does indeed pit. The race leader Brady has pitted. Meanwhile, Sam has got a much better run out of Ascari, and surely on those old tyres there's very little that Geordie can do to stop Sam from going past. And Sam had got the move done before the braking zone and moves up into 7th. Brady does indeed go on a soft tyre as Geordie pits. Will Brady rejoin ahead of Sam or behind him? This is key, but for both their racers it looks like that Sam is going to be behind. Yeah, Brady has maintained the position, and Sam's gamble hasn't quite paid off, and you suspect on those soft tyres that there isn't much Sam can do against the VSR racer. So Brady maintains the position over Sam, and you wonder now if Charles will pit at the end of this lap. But where will he fit into the mix? Because he was behind Brady, so this lap is going to be key for Charles if he wants to maintain, you know, that 2nd place, or even get ahead of his teammate possible. It looked fairly smooth for Ascari, not carrying massive amounts of speed, but surely he'll be pitting at the end of this lap unless he feels that maybe the fresh tyres will be a key factor at the end of the race. He does indeed pit as Brady picks up a penalty that could also be decisive at the end of a race. So Charles pits then, as does Ollie and Tibby, everyone pitting at the end of this lap. Well, Lipensky and Morning can't both pit, so Lipensky has got the priority there, and Morning, maybe against what he would have liked to have done, has to carry on. What's happened to Charles? Wow, he's had a really slow pit stop. Otherwise, he must have had a really bad in-lap, because Charles is way behind Brady and Sam. Oh dear. He's behind H Racing Green, he's behind Ollie. He's even behind Chullo. What is going on? He must have had an issue, either on his in-lap or in the pit stop, but Charles has dropped way down and now he's got a lot of work to do. Otherwise he could be looking at not getting on the podium today. And that frees up his teammate Brady, who only has Mornan ahead of him, but of course Mornan has yet to pit. And Brady is now effectively the race leader, with Sam at 1.5 seconds behind in 2nd. And Chillo in 3rd. He may have to pit again, Chillo, because he did that early stop after, I think, a spin or damage or something. And he can probably take those mediums to the end, so those drivers behind Chillo will have to overtake him full position. No question about it. And those drivers are Ollie, H Racing Green and Charles. 3 very quick drivers as Giorgio picks up what I think is his 27th penalty in a race. That's probably a little bit dramatic, but it does seem like I've seen his name a lot there. Meanwhile, oh, and Chillo's gone off the track. What went off there? What? He's going very slowly, but he's not going to the pits. Well, I think Chillo's just letting everyone. That's very confusing. You'd feel he's battling for position, but he just seems to have let everyone through. That's very, very odd from Chillo. He probably had a good chance of keeping him behind, but not anymore. Meanwhile, Charles has caught right up to the back of H Racing Green in Force India, possibly due to that bit of drama just then. Charles, you think, would be the quicker driver, so this Force India's got his hands full keeping the Williams at bay. So you go down to the Lesmos once again. Charles right behind, so if he gets a good exit out of Lesmo too, you feel like this should be a pretty simple move. I wonder how much Hayes Racing Green will actually try and stop him. He ducks into a slipstream, he goes to the outside, Hayes Racing Green defends the inside line, but Charles is going for the move around the outside of Ascari. What an overtake that is! That is absolutely brilliant. There's a little bit of contact, but for two cars to get through Ascari without having a massive accident, fair play to both of them. And you know, Charles put a lot of faith in H Racing Green, and Owen, he's crashed. H Racing Green has crashed. That's a disaster. He just lost a position, but now he crashes. Oh, what a nightmare for him. And he's left for session 2, so the slipstream glitch will probably be in effect now as well, as Chillo also retires. We are down to just 11 drivers, so we're down to just 10 actually, so as long as you finish from now onwards, you're guaranteed some points, which will be of a massive relief to Ollie, who struggled for points this season. But he's now up into third, with only real Charles behind him, who you could argue is definitely a lot quicker than him. Brady, as you'd expect, is pulling away from Sam, but he did pretty early for his softs, so maybe later on in the race Sam could come back at him. We'll have to see for that one, but right now it doesn't look like he's got much of an answer for his speed. There's the yellow flag in sector 1. I'm not got a clue why. Meanwhile, we've got potentially battle for 5th here. Brady sets another fastest lap. He set one, I think, the lap before, but he's the first man to 122s this race. Giorgio is looking at the back of Tibby. I think with penalties, this probably won't affect his position too much, but he'll want Stone to get a move done if possible. He's in the DRS of the Renault. Let's go on board with Giorgio to see what he can do and see how Larry he's looking. He's had a pretty dramatic race so far. But Sam will be desperately hoping that Giorgio can have a good finish to his race, because it would be some much needed points for Mercedes in their constructors battle, and with both Williams is up near the front again, Sam needs as much help as possible from his teammate if he is to win the constructors. Ollie currently in third, holding up Ferrari with Gamer's absence, and both Haas cars 7th and 8th. So as it stands, they're looking good for a decent haul of points at the moment, as long as they can keep it together. We could potentially, though, have a battle for the podium very shortly. Charles is looking at getting past Ollie for third, making up for lost time after the drama he had. I'm not sure whether it was a pit stop error or a driver error on his in-lap. I mean, if he gets on the podium, we can ask him after the race to find out just what it was that has cost him in this battle for the win. But he'll be looking to get past this Ferrari as soon as possible, you'd think. But Ollie won't make it easy. He looks a lot more confident on the brakes, so does Charles. Ollie a little bit conservative. And Charles here will pick up the slipstream. Oh, lovely helicopter shot as Charles looks to the outside. Ollie defends the inside. Charles later on the brakes. Oh, what a move. Just much more confident on the brakes and used that to his advantage. May have saw in the first chicane just how nervous Ollie was on the brakes and used it to his advantage there. Great move, and he's back into the podium positions. Is there anything Ollie can do to retaliate? Or will Charles just zoom off into the distance now? Meanwhile, Giorgio has slipped back to 10th. I think he might have made a second stop. Yeah, he has. So he's pitted again, Giorgio. So he's down to 10th, and that promotes Lipinski to 6th, Mornan to 7th, Nicky, who had that early incident, to 8th, and Geordie to 9th. Let's look at the position changes. Lipinski is a big gainer. He's up 8 places from his 14th and last place grid spot. Mornan up 5 places above. Haas cars have definitely benefited from that. Charles has dropped down 2. Excuse me, Charles has dropped down 2, and both Brady and Sam have gone up a place. So those are the gaps. Doesn't look like anyone's particularly close on track. Meanwhile, Nicky, who had that early shunt, is back into the pits again. Can't make those tyres last, I would say. And we'll probably pit maybe for, yeah, I thought for super softs. I don't know why I almost said ultras then. But Nicky will come back out on track in 10th place, and we'll go to the end. So could potentially be very quick at the end of a race. Meanwhile, I think Ollie's had made a mistake somewhere, because yeah, Ollie's definitely made a mistake somewhere, because he's lost a lot of time, and he's now got, in fact, has he lost a bit of his front wing? He has. He must have hit a wall somewhere, because Ollie's lost some of his front wing, and now he's going to be at the prey of Tibby and the cars behind. So Ollie, who was looking good for a brilliant haul of points, is now going to have some defending to do, or he may just call it. Yeah, he might have to pit with that front wing damage, because that's quite severe, and that would drop him down to 9th place. Oh, well, I'd say 8th actually. That'll be a disaster for him. Does he decide to pit? Yes, he does. So Tibby now moves up to 4th. That'll definitely be his best result of the season, if he can maintain that. But to be fair, I was talking about Ollie getting a good result, so commentator's curse here. As Brady picks up a penalty, he doesn't need to do that. He's got a comfortable lead over Sam at the moment. We're going to look at the comments in the stream, if I can. All things are looking fairly quiet on track. I will quickly go on board there with Mornan, because he's getting pretty close to teammate Lipinski, and I wonder if team orders may come into play here. That's looking at a good result, and he won't want to ruin that. Apologies about the brief stoppage in the commentary, just to try and log into trying to log into the Twitch, but yeah, nothing much is happening on track at the moment. But like I said, the Haas pair are pretty close on track. For some reason the comments are not showing up, which is a little bit irritating. Not sure why that is, but yeah, just unfortunate really. And interesting to read your comments. So if you do post a comment, let me know. Or, well, post a comment if you can, just so to see if they do pop up or not. Anyway, back to the racing. It looks like Ollie, after his pit stop, has actually rejoined behind Giorgio. So on those quicker tyres, he'll look to try and get that position on the Mercedes. I mean, these two are probably the number 2 drivers, you'd say, in their teams, and they've got a big part to play here, because if Mercedes and Ferrari are going to challenge Williams and the constructors. They're going to need Ollie and Giorgio to pick up consistent good points. And there's no doubting, although they don't quite have the speed of their teammates, they are quick drivers, but both of them have had a tendency to just get involved in one too many incidents this season. And, you know, if you are going to be a sort of number 2 driver in a constructors battle, you can't be affording to do that. You've just got to be consistent and pick up the points as much as you can. So I'm interested to see if they do battle, what it's like, because say they both certainly can get their elbows out from time to time, as Ollie does the fastest lap, so he's definitely on the march. You have a feeling if you can get within DRS range of a Mercedes, there's going to definitely be some battling going on. Brady, meanwhile, at the front has extended his gap to 7.3 seconds over Sam. That, although it's not going up as much as it was, the gap, when they were initially on the tyres, I think Brady's still very much got it under control, and I can't see Sam coming back at Brady enough to cause the Williams driver much panic. So, oh, and there's a bit of dust up ahead. I wondered if Lipinski had gone wide there, but he's kept it together. But he will give his teammate DRS here, and a massive incentive to try and get past. Both drivers looking at their best result of the season here. I mean they've been helped with retirements, of course, but they've just gone about their business. They may not be the quickest drivers in the league, but they've been consistent. They've driven well, and they're reaping the rewards right now. To be first you have to finish, and they're proving that here so far today. In 5th and 6th. Tibby's doing a great job, gone under the radar a bit, not really seen too much of him other than when he was fighting H Racing Green for position. But yeah, he's in 4th place, looking very comfortable and under no pressure from behind. So looking at a great result here, the Renault driver. And with Geordie up in 7th, it's not just Haas looking at good points, so are Renault. Nicky will be disappointed down in 10th, I think. You know, there's that early incident. I'm not quite sure what happened at turn 1. It's very difficult to catch everything that goes on, especially further down the field. But I think Nicky had a spin, lost front wing, and from there on in it's very difficult. Oh dear, I'm interrupted here because Geordie has lost it coming out of Lesmo 2, and that's a huge shunt, and that's thrown away great points for the Renault team. I was just talking about Renault collecting good points, and I may have jinxed it once again. That's a real big blow for Geordie. I don't know if he was trying to close up to anyone, but well, there you go. He's out of the race, and we're down to just 9 drivers now. But it could be a battle about to ensue between Giorgio and Ollie. Talked about this earlier on, that these two potentially could have a very interesting battle. For some reason Ollie's really lagging. I don't know if that's me on my end or if that's genuine lag from Ollie, but I'll probably have to close down the stream. That'll probably help. But yeah, Ollie's thanks to all his incidents, despite all the drama that Giorgio's had in this race, he's up in 7th and he's got that position to defend, so definitely still worthy points on offer here. Feeling almost super soft, so he will definitely want to try and get past. Oh, and Ollie's lost the car! Oh, he's out! No! Not again, Ollie! Oh, that's a disaster. He was looking at points, finally, but it's 3 crashes in 3 races. And although in the first 2 races there was definitely potentially other people to blame, he cannot blame anyone but himself today. Oh, that's a bitter blow for him and the Ferrari team. Gamer might be watching on this, and he will not be happy to see this. He may be looking elsewhere for a teammate next season unless Ollie can pick up this form. It's not a good moment in Ollie's career in Invictus, and he'll want to try and get results sooner rather than later. Next week will be his home Grand Prix at Silverstone, so A lot of pressure on him there to deliver, but there are plenty of British drivers in the field, so you could say that quite a few drivers will want to deliver there next week. And then there were 8 drivers who had 6 retirements. I mean, some suggestions that this Monza circuit is easy, but those gravel traps and, you know, the speed of this circuit, it can catch people out even now. And it's caught lots of people out today. So Brady, meanwhile, is still out in front, 8.6 seconds in front of Sam. I can't see that changing between now and the end of a race, so we have just 4 laps to go. Charles, after that, well, still not sure what it was, but it cost him a lot of time around the pit stop phase, and he dropped down to 3rd after earlier on battling with the top 2. Tibby is just taking advantage of the chaos around him and has driven a very good race in 4th. Lipinski still in 5th, holding off his teammate Mornan, holding off at arm's length. Doesn't look to be under much pressure, but all it takes is one mistake. We've seen plenty of those today as he massively locks up, but does make the corner. Giorgio looking at points in 7th, despite once again a very interesting race. And Nicky, you know, despite that lap 1 shunt, it just shows sometimes if you keep going in a race, even after some very frustrating incidents on lap 1, you can take advantage of that and you can get points because of other drivers' mistakes. And he's currently looking at some good points actually in 8th, considering he is the last of the runners. Doesn't look like there's much on-track action at the moment, but you never know where to look because, you know, drivers are making mistakes all over. I mean, Giorgio's just got another penalty. I mean, I don't know how much it takes to get a disqualification on this game, but he can't be far off. But yeah, there's plenty of drivers here. Just look at the standings very quick, because there's some drivers here. I mean, Lipinski's collected points in every race, and this will be his best result of the season. His previous best was a 6th in Mexico. So, you know, consistently picking up points, Lipinski doing a very good job. And with his teammate Mornan backing him up for the first time, you know, he'll be very happy, I think, with this. As it stands, I think, quickly do some maths. I think Charles would still be leading the championship, but only a point ahead of both Brady and Sam. So if that stays as it is, I think Charles will be on 27, Brady and Sam will be on 26. It's early days in the championship, I know, but I think it's a quarter of the way through, and there's the mistake but Mornan was looking for. He's going to go for the move. Lipinski still blocks him off despite not really having the momentum. But this is all the incentive Mornan needed, but he's now lost the car! Oh no! Did he? I think he might have held that together without losing any of his front wing. It'd be really helpful if I could see, like, in front of his car broadcast view. Okay, not like that. I mean, like, literally, what am I supposed to see there? No, he has lost half of his front wing. Oh, disaster for Mornan. He got excited, I think, when he saw Lipinski make the error. But he got too excited, and now he's the one who's made the more costly error. Oh, and that would drop him down to 8th place if he decides to pit. But to be honest with you, the amount of laps remaining, he might as well just carry on, because he'd probably lose less time and have a chance of keeping, maybe not 7th, but maybe not 6th, but definitely 7th. But yeah, that would make Lipinski feel a lot easier about life. So we'll go on board with Brady now then. He's just got just over a lap to do, and it's been a very comfortable drive. I think we'll go on board with him for the last lap of the race, as it doesn't look to be much happening further down the field. It's been a very, very good drive from Brady. He had his teammate and Sam battling with him in the first stint. But after pit stops, you know, he didn't get lulled into pitting early and changing his strategy when Sam pitted. He just got on with it, put in some quick laps, pitted after Sam by a few laps, was able to take the quicker tyres, and still got out in front of Sam. And from then on in, it's been a breeze for him. And this will be his first win of the season. He had a 2nd place to his teammate in Mexico, but this today he's the one with the glory. He'll take his first win of the season and put himself right in the championship hunt with Sam and Charles. These three, who hopefully will get to have a word with after the race, are clearly the three main contenders for the title. And it'll be interesting to see how they're feeling about things 3 races in. And they're all fairly spaced out now. Sam maybe slightly quicker now, but it doesn't matter. Brady has got this under control round Ascari for the final time. Just got Parabolica to negotiate. A corner that is a lot easier now. The gravel trap's been removed, or at least the gravel trap's been pushed further away towards the wall. But Brady comes around Parabolica for the final time. It's been an absolutely dominant drive from him, and he takes the win at the Italian Grand Prix. He weaves to celebrate, and he wins. And a little destroyed his vehicle to boot. Sam finally doesn't finish third. He goes one better. He takes second place, and he's only 3 seconds behind Brady after penalties. Charles, after that, whatever happened around the pit stop thing, has recovered well and takes a solid podium to keep himself at the top of the Drivers' Championship by just the 1 point. Tibby 93, what a result in the Renault. He'll be delighted with that. He takes P4, great result. And it looks like Giorgio has got past Mornan for P6, but will probably drop behind because of penalties. Lipensky takes P5, a great job in Haas, his best result of the season. And we'll follow Giorgio around. I think he's going to drop behind Mornan, as I said. He does indeed. Mornan gets 6th, Giorgio 7th, and Nicky is the last runner. Just the 8 people finishing the race, 6 people retired. But Nicky recovers from the first lap collision to take P8. And that is your race results. You see the podium there, the Williams driver celebrating. We'll try and get the podium finishers into the party for a quick few questions. Alright everyone, just make sure your party settings are set to always allow.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So congratulations Brady on the win. Looked fairly comfortable. Just describe your emotions after that one.
Yeah, I'm really happy I finally got some luck. No punctures, no disconnects, no nothing, so straight shootout I won, I was happy. And yeah, hopefully same in Silverstone, but I love that track, but I know when Gamer will be back it'd be a lot harder.
We saw you battle with your teammate throughout the first stint, but then the battling sort of stopped when Sam started to close. Was that a tactical decision, or did you just think it was in the team's best interest to not battle at that point?
No, it wasn't that Sam was catching, it's just at the start of the race there was no point risking a DNF for either driver. And then it was just, we were just going to battle at the end. Like there was no point having a big battle at the start of the race and just having a 4-car train in, so we just thought tactical.
Good stuff. And if if my calculations are correct, I believe that you and Sam are tied on points and 1 point behind Charles. How are your feelings on the championship going forward?
It's really heating up, which I like. Still early, very early days yet, but just need to keep chipping away.
Well done again. Congratulations on the win. We'll move on to Sam now, who finished second. It must be nice for you to not finish third for once.
No, I guess. I kind of made the wrong strategy call, so I'm not bad as second.
I was going to mention that actually. You made quite an early stop for medium tyres. Was that to try and get the Williams to blink, or was that just a poor strategy call?
Well, I was hoping they would stay out long enough, so I can probably just get undercut on both, but it didn't quite work. Anyway, even if I did, I think he would just blitz past me anyway, no softs.
Just mentioned as well the championship standings at the moment. You seem to be the most consistent out of the three drivers so far. Is that something you feel you can use to your advantage?
Hopefully. Maybe I can just keep getting podiums and see where it goes from there, but it will be difficult when Gamer does come back to get podiums, because it's just too close at the moment between the top three.
Do you still feel that Gamer can challenge then, despite a couple of no starts? Knowing his pace, I won't be surprised. Well done again on the second place. Move on now to Charles, that finished in third place. I actually missed what happened to you around your pit stop, so can you explain why you lost so much time around that time?
Coming out the second chicane, I sort of like lost it, broke my wing, and then during the pit stop I got held twice. So like my pit stop was as long as the gap between me and Sam. It was like an 8.8 second stop. It's kind of annoying.
So a bit of a double whammy then. After that then, are you relieved to secure third?
I mean, there's not many other people here that were like, I don't think many other people here were fast enough to pass me on track. So after I caught up to Green and Ollie then lost it coming out one of the corners. I think it's one of the Lesmos. But the field was so spread out after the first couple laps because me, Sam and Brady had pulled away from the pack, so I was pretty confident to get a podium.
And you maintain the championship lead by just a single point. Who do you see as your biggest competitor at the moment?
Probably Brady. He's definitely got the pace.
Do you also see Gamer as a competitor, or do you think his no-shows will halt his progress?
I think the no-show is going to halt his progress, but because he's definitely with us on pace. I don't believe he's faster than us by like miles. So it's all about picking up the points gradually, and if he's missed out at the start, then he's just missed out at the start. But we are only like 3 rounds into the championship, so...
Well done again on your third place. Just one final question before I end the stream, to you all actually. We'll start off with Brady. What are your feelings on Silverstone? How do you feel you can do there?
Yeah, I feel really confident for Silverstone. I'm pretty quick around there. I just hope there's no like stall extensions and qualies or anything that helps people, that's all.
And Sam?
I'm not confident at all. But just have to manage it.
Any particular reason why you're not so confident?
I'm just not quick there. Don't know why. It's just something I had to try and sort out.
Fair enough. And Charles?
I'm quite confident, but I need to do some setup work to make sure, because it just gets loose during the Maggots and Beckett's. It's the key part of the lap.
Alrighty, thanks again to all of you for joining me after the race, and this pretty much brings an end to a stream now. We'll see you next week for Silverstone. Bye bye.